Good morning, and welcome to Heart and Soul Connected. This is Aley Martin, and I'm here again with my friend Peggy Starr, and this is our third installment of Conversations with Peggy by popular demand. Well, welcome, Peggy.
I
You're
am
looking
so
good.
happy to be here, Aley. This is great. Thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, thank you. We've had some people that have requested it, really. They love listening to what your stories are and what you have to say. And I think it's always nice to listen to elder wisdom because, you know, you've been there, done that, and you can give us all. Most people that are on my subscription list actually are women of the ages between 45 and 70. So I find that fascinating, and we are all looking to you as the wise elder to point us in the right direction.
Well, thank you, Aley, but I don't know if I can meet those high expectations.
Oh, there's no high expectation. No, you are that. Remember, I am that.
I am that, and we're going through a lot of that.
We are, aren't we? We really are.
One of the things that's come up recently for me to talk about to some family members is the words that we choose and the attitude that we have when we express those words.
Yeah.
That we can be so much kinder than we have had habits of being.
Yeah.
And it can release the pressure so much. And throughout the years, what I've noticed is different family members have experienced a shut up, I'm not going to talk to you anymore condition.
Oh, geez.
And for a long time, that frustrated me. But then I finally come to the awareness that they can't speak because they don't have the tools. It's not inside of them to know what to say, when to say it, how to behave with something. Something comes up with another person and they, you know, the projection thing.
Right.
So anyway, a cousin had to pretty much lock down because she's going to have major surgery. Mm-hmm. And so her mother got mad at her and won't speak to her because the daughter wouldn't allow the mother to come over, wasn't allowing anybody to come over in the immediate days before the operation. She wanted to be safe, health-wise.
Yeah.
So the mother stopped speaking. Well, I know all of them very well, and I understand very well. But a wonderful thing happened when I tuned into Facebook. I read an article that directly related to that. Wow. Some mother had said to all of the kids, no matter what problems they came up with, she said, okay, you go get a job. Okay, you go find a bus. Okay, whatever, you go do it. Mm-hmm. She was telling them that take responsibility for their own problems.
Right.
Responsibility for their own thinking, their own feeling, the whole works.
Right.
And a dysfunctional family turned out to be pretty functional after that because everybody had the tool. I can do this myself. I'm going to go ahead and experiment with different ways to do it.
Right.
Good. We need more of that.
We do. We do. I was very fortunate when I was growing up that my parents let me take responsibility for different things that I had to do. I remember once there was a really bad snowstorm and I was pretty young. And my dad, instead of saying, you can't do it, you can't go somewhere, he said, I'm going to let you make that decision. And I was probably 17. And I made the decision to go somewhere in my car and I made it. And my father probably was chewing his fingernails, you know, but
yeah.
But you know, he knew that I needed to take that responsibility if I was going to make that choice. And I am ever grateful for the way he treated me that way. Yeah, I really was. So I understand.
That's a good one. And there's one that my son came up with recently. He's in his 50s. He's raising kids alone.
Right.
And because of my history, my kids have had some problems. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when I saw on his Facebook page, he posted 4 posts Now, listen carefully. The first post was a brand new Charger, if you remember those beautiful cars.
Yeah.
And my son was about 7 at the time. And he said, Richard allowed him to drive the car. Thank you, Richard. The next post was a tractor. Mm-hmm. Essentially, he was saying, thank you, Robert, my second husband. Thank you, Robert, for letting me drive the tractor. Mm-hmm. The third one that he posted was a wreck of a car. Oh my gosh. And it posted a little bit more information, and I was getting the picture of what he was trying to explain. Mm-hmm. He said, look at this car all battered. He said, my third dad lived in a car. He says, but he was the most, what did he say? Oh, he was very, very different. And you know, it's okay to be different. Thank you, Kate. Uh-huh. So then he posted my real dad, and he posted the destroyer, the USS Rupertus. Mm-hmm. My dad drove this, and I never got to. But thank you, Larry, for being my dad. So he was thanking each of the gentlemen in the realm that they were in, whatever realm that was.
Right, right.
And so he and I talked about it afterwards. And I said, I'm not sure how to interpret all that you're saying here. What's going on? And he says, I've been told to talk about and to work through leading with your weaknesses. Whatever has burdened you, mm-hmm. whatever has been a problem for you in your life to really swallow, if you look at it from another point of view, you look at it as that's where your strength can come. You made it through that. That's where your strength can come from.
That's right.
Your weaknesses.
That's right.
I'm so proud of him. I really am. That's really wonderful.
Yes.
And it made me think back to the time wonderful. Similar to what you said about the snow and everything. I was about 11 or 12, and we were living in Yakima, Washington. And my mother was big, pregnant for twins. And we had a stove in the kitchen that had the iron, had the pipes running through where you burned the wood, so that heated our water.
Okay.
Well, the pipe burst and threw those ashes over the entire kitchen and everything. Oh,
no.
Mother couldn't do anything. She was almost out of condition. Mm-hmm. And so everything was up to me. She said, you've got to go out and dig in the snow and find a place to shut off the water, and you've got to come back and clean all this up. Woo-hoo! And so it was a major chore, and I did do it. Of course, for a long, long time, I felt really burdened by all of that. But after a while, I began to see that's part of what developed my inner strength.
Sure.
Is to do things in a challenging time.
That's right. Get through it. I think that's why some of us had less problems with COVID staying at home, because there could be a lot worse things. Look at the people, that had, their families ripped apart for the Japanese internment camps and for, World War II or anything else, war. Yeah. So, yeah. You have to look for it. You have to kind of look for things in a positive light in order to grow, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's where the area we need to grow is in to accept just that. We need to accept that those challenges are actually gifts. And they're gifts.
They are.
They are next step on the ladder. So,
absolutely.
In some ways, when I look back, I think, oh my goodness, those were some good, hard times.
They were.
They weren't bad at all.
They weren't. You're right. It's all in how you look at it. And we talked about that before we started taping this morning. And, trying to come up with the challenges, our health challenges, our daily challenges for what's going on around us, and making the choice not to push against it, but to go with it and flow with it and make a different way of looking at it. Absolutely.
I understand that the role of the mind that plays in that game is when we do go with it, we actually have more clarity and we can come up with better solutions.
We can.
If
We can, because we're not so mad about it.
The mind is just going bonkers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
that's absolutely true. Yeah.
That was on my mind.
Well, that's wonderful. And while you were talking, I was thinking also about the fact that there aren't a lot of people who teach their children or understand the idea of boundaries. And, you know, I will not accept this from you. And in communication, for instance, the cousin, she was placing a boundary. She said, you know, I'm asking for you to understand that I don't want anybody to come over right now because I want to heal or get ready for my surgery. And for someone to say, well, I'm mad at you about that, then that's pushing against that person's boundaries. And that person has every right to have a boundary.
Yeah.
But maybe there just wasn't any of that boundary setting in their relationship. So it makes it look like, you know, that she's being a renegade or something. You know? Yeah.
And this is her nature. She's a precious person, but she does have that
propensity.
I don't even know what to name it. But in any case, we need those tools. We do, Peggy. Inside that everything is ultimately going to be all right. We've got to give everybody a break, and that ultimately it will turn out right when we quit fussing with it.
I know. Well, I'm thinking about that as we speak because of the puppy screaming and crying at night. And I'm thinking, this too shall pass. Nothing is forever, you know. And if you don't look at it that way, you could drive yourself absolutely crazy, you know, thinking that, you know. Yeah.
That pretty much came through when I was down with the shingles last month.
I can't believe you got them twice. I thought you only could get them once. You've had them now twice.
I had them twice when I was in my 60s, and now here I'm 86.
Oh,
this is the third time.
Oh, I didn't know it was. Oh my God.
So anyway,
that's awful.
The first two times, like I said, I didn't have any pain, just a lot of itching. This time, it caught up with all of that, and I had it. But one night, as I lay there in the worst of pain, I started grinning. I couldn't. Oh, what's going on? We're gonna win. We got this. I knew it.
You tell those nerve endings to settle down.
You're not gonna get the best of me.
That's right. You picked the wrong hombre there, boy. Oh, I'm sorry.
Onward we went.
Yeah.
Gotta get a sip here.
Sure, of course. Yeah, my dad had them really bad, and he had emphysema, so he just couldn't breathe, and anyway, and then he had the pain, which made it so much harder. But I heard that they were putting preparation H on them. Is that true? Have you tried preparation H on these shingles?
No, I didn't.
Doesn't sound like something you'd think that would work, but apparently it did. So I hope you don't get them again, Peggy. But if you do, try.
No, now I hear that you can go to Walgreens or whatever pharmacy and you can get the shots against.
You can.
So
although my doctor says, I asked my doctor, because I think you had to be 55 or 60 or something in order to, don't get it before then. And I asked her, and she said it doesn't really work. But I don't know. I think I might anyway, because I've heard nothing but really bad things about the pain levels, in shingle pain.
Different circumstances and etc.
Right. Right.
The other thing I thought to ask you your feelings about, and that is our holidays.
Oh.
I keep every now and then I think about holidays, and I think it's nice to have them, and then again they've become so commercialized.
Oh yeah.
That it just drives me crazy. And I was thinking recently about the upcoming 4th of July and how all of those darn fireworks and everything in the neighborhood scare the animals to pieces.
They do. Yep. Yep.
That really upsets me that people just don't seem to care about these other little beings.
I agree. Out here, it seems like people have already started letting off fireworks. They
Oh, no.
start in mid-June and they continue on, and then there's football season, and every time that the Seahawks win, then they do it again, and then it's Labor Day, and then again, and then it's Thanksgiving. Whatever it is, they continuously set them off, and yet probably 5 miles down the road, it's $1,000 fine if you do that. So it just depends where you live. And my poor dogs are always traumatized. And we haven't even mentioned the fact that people with PTSD and veterans and so on, of course, they are also traumatized by it.
Right.
So, yeah. Wow.
So that's my opinion of that, is that, first of all, on the July, it's kind of interesting that they're using fireworks to celebrate the end of a war.
I know.
It's just like, come on.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I'm working on a series of programs on the goddess and the divine feminine. And anytime that the divine feminine is in charge, or the goddess was in charge, we didn't have all this war stuff. If we did, it was in and out, you know what I mean? And we just need women running things.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Yeah, we do.
So it'll eventually happen. It's taking its time, but it has to do what it has to do. We've got to go through whatever it is. We had to go through everything that's already happened. We've had to go through that. I was thinking this morning, I know that more and more U.S. people are moving to Costa Rica. I wonder why.
Yeah, and somebody told my husband they're moving to Portugal and anywhere but here. They're wanting out. Yeah. They're wanting out. And
it's interesting.
Who would have thought?
It's both Democrats and Republicans.
It is. Yeah, it is. So let me ask you this: as a woman who has seen, was alive during World War II and the Korean War, what do you think about? And I realize you were small, you weren't older, but are you seeing like history repeating itself in cycles, and we're going back to this crazy dictator stuff? Because it's not just here in America, it seems to be all over the world.
Everywhere. I better not say everywhere, because of course it's not everywhere, but it does seem to be expanding around the globe. It does seem to be like the heads of each of the countries are in league.
Right.
That there's a lot of connections at the heads of the countries that didn't seem to be there before.
Yeah. I agree.
For humanity as a whole.
Right. I just hate to see us heading down that road after we've done so much work in bringing together. I mean, I'm not saying we were peaceful all the time or anything like that, but we did a lot of work on, bringing together people of color, accepting gay people and transgendered people and so on and so forth. It's like all of that has just been thrown away in a lot of cases. It's very sad.
Well, it's like a continuous, I hate to use this word, but it's a continuous battle.
It is. Yeah.
To keep all of these other groups uplifted, because how many times have we been through the feminist movement already? Again and again and again.
True.
And then some of us at my age, our own daughters, don't even know what we're talking about. The other thing that strikes me as interesting too is where certain mothers are very aware to be supportive of all these different groups, and their children will come along and they're just not at all. Or the exact opposite. The mothers will be unaware and then the children are very aware. So
I know it is strange, but don't you think that the millennials who are probably starseeds are really standing up and saying, we're not going to put up with this. We want this. We want change. We, you know, they're going and they're marching for Black Lives Matter and other things. And I don't know, it just reminds me sort of how the hippies were in the 60s. They stood up. Yeah,
exactly. I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Marching doesn't seem to help, though.
Not much.
Not much.
No. Yeah.
But does letter writing? We have to find out what really works.
What does it? Yeah.
We haven't found that key yet.
Right. Right. Yep.
And I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting yesterday. I teach literary criticism in one of my colleges, and one of the lenses you can look at a story through is critical race theory. And what it looks at is how people have been marginalized and how that shows up in the literature, in the treatment of the characters, in the situations, and so on and so forth. And all it is really a way of looking at something through a lens that was available or is available to us, because we know that the past African Americans and other people have been marginalized and treated poorly, and obviously still are. So I was watching Matt Gaetz, who I don't like at all, and he was saying how critical race theory needs to go and how bad it is and this and that. And they allowed General Mark Milley of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to talk, and he was wonderful. Oh my God. He is a white man, and he did work with Trump, but he said, I've read the Communist Manifesto, I've read Sun Tzu's Art of War, I've read this and I've read that, and that doesn't turn me into a communist. It doesn't turn turn me into a, you know. Yeah. And he said, so I would rather know and have my soldiers know how this has impacted other people, because we're fighting in the same country. We're in the same position, and people should know. And of course, Matt Gaetz, he's like, and I'm thinking, yes, thank you, sir. You're right. Yeah.
That is the truth. We have been sheltered, so badly sheltered from really knowing, unless a person is a traveler to actually go to other countries. Yeah. They also do not see the perspective that other countries have of us.
Of us, right. Yeah. Not and happy.
Really losing respect incredibly.
Yeah, we have.
So the ordinary person who doesn't have the budget to get out, travel, to take extra coursework, or if they're not shown, and by the way, I see that as another tool,
right,
to help us, to enlighten us about other people, about differences. And that's exactly what my son Lyle was saying. He was very, very different, and that was a good thing. That was a very good thing. He happened to be a Buddhist.
All right, really? At that time, that would have been very different, even more now than for today.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. And so, he was celebrating the differences, is what he was doing. Yeah,
absolutely. Celebrating all the differences, as hard as it was to take as a young person.
Right. But
we need, again, repeating what we said earlier, we need certain types of breathtaking challenges to make us look at something in a new way.
Correct. Yep. We don't go out and seek it, because who would want to seek something that was challenging in a lot of ways? So what happens is, when it happens to us, we can either look at it like, oh, this is a challenge, or we can look at it like, oh my God, I'm so unlucky, you know.
Yeah. It's like switching the switch over to, oh, I'm curious about this anyway. Yeah, tell me more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which brings me to the word wokeness, W-O-K-E. They're saying that that's a bad thing. And what it is just another way of condemning and being anti-intellectual. I think.
Absolutely. I was thinking that early on. This doesn't fit somehow. I didn't know why, but it didn't fit.
Right.
So I hope that other way of seeing it gets out.
I hope so too, because, you know, I think that, you know, there are probably elitist people who might say to somebody that doesn't know, oh, well, I know more than you. And of course, that's just ego there. But there are other people who are trying to educate themselves so they can learn different ways of communicating, learn different ways of the world, and so on. And to be awake, nothing wrong with being awake. I'm glad I'm awake, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I ran into an incident with myself recently.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little bit difficult to talk about, but I have a friend, and she is not awake.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, my goodness, how do I deal with this? Because I respect her, you know, I like her. She's a good person, all this kind of stuff. How do I express a tiny bit of something that will maybe be a doorway for her?
Right. If she's ready. Maybe this lifetime she's not ready. But
she
you never
was
know.
not ready. She flared up bad. And so we have to walk easy with one another. We have to walk easy and yet, as you said a few moments ago, not practice that doggone ego. We have to appreciate each person where they are at, whoever it is. I know full well I am not fully awake, that there's people who are
a lot more enlightened than we are.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, when I stumble into something, help.
Yep. We're a work in progress. We're just a work in progress, Peg.
Every single one of us, and even on different pathways, and we have to respect that.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where we really, this, to understand oneness, all of us belong in this big game that we're going through. There isn't anybody that should be left out. Nobody.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter what their role is. Nobody should be left out, because it's all part of us to look at and say, what's going on there? What can I learn from this?
Right.
And
but I think we have to be more respectful. And I think, for instance, I want to say that, like, Joe Biden, he wants to bring in the Republicans. He wants to work with them. He wants to get some cohesion, and they're about no respect at all. We don't respect you. We don't care what you think. We are not going to move. And it doesn't, you know, I think you can take two sides and bring them close and get somewhere if you decide both to do it. When you're putting up walls all the time and you're coming up with reasons why you don't want to do something, and I hate using politics, but it's one we can really see in action. But, you know, be respectful, for heaven's sakes, he's trying. So then they come on and they say, well, he didn't want to work with us. Well, no, if you go back and look at your comments, you'll say that you're the one that told him you didn't want to work with him. So, you know, some respect needs to be brought in.
On all levels, levels. It doesn't matter where we're at. Respect is the biggest thing. We've hung out with love long enough. We've got to move into respect.
We do. We have to, you know, if we can respect the differences without being so committed to making people see your side is the only right way, because there is not only one right way. It's the same with religion.
Never. What was that song they had? We are the world. We are the world.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes. And we are the children, no matter how old we are. We are a work in progress. We keep working till we die, because if you don't, then you don't grow, right?
Exactly. It never stopped, believe me.
No, I know.
We have that option to stay on the train as long as we want to.
That's right. And some days we'd like to jump off.
Well, that's another part of it, is allowing ourselves break time.
Right.
Yes, we've got to do that too. It's okay.
Self-care. Yep. Absolutely.
I've taken it as far as I'm going to take it, folks. I'm not going to discuss that particular issue today. Maybe another day I'll be open to it, but I've kind of had it up to here.
Up to here, right. No, it's all about, and that's another thing. So people have not learned how to allow people to take responsibility, and boundaries are not being set. And also self-care is not being taught. In other words, I need a timeout and I love you very much, but you got to know it's not about you, it's about me. I got to take care of me, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. And we need to have the, learn about the freedom to really be in those roles comfortably. Okay, today's my day off.
Right.
We'll talk about this some other day. And you're still friends. And you're still friends.
Right. Because you don't always have to agree to be friends.
Exactly.
No. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So it can be that way with families too. It's hard, but it can be that way.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to, I was mentioning the other day that, family is not something you choose. You may have chosen it in the other world to come down and be in this particular family. But in other words, you're related to this person and you can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
But you do usually choose your friends. You can choose who you choose to be around. But your family is your heart. It is your soul. And it's hard sometimes because, you don't want to upset the apple cart, but at the same time, you don't want to be walked all over either.
Well, I often remember a movie that was shown when I was a little girl. So I don't think you've seen it. I think it was popular in the 40s. And it had to do with Christmas time. I don't remember the film. I don't remember who was in it, but I remembered what happened at Christmas time is all the different adult children came home. One was a minister, one was a nurse, all these different, very different types of religions and other professional systems that could easily have different opinions that they could have fought about. But there everybody was together celebrating all of their differences. My goodness, I would like to remember what the title of that film was. But like I say, that was in the 40s. And that must have really impressed me for me to still remember.
It must have, because you would have been a young girl then. Yeah,
very young. 11 or 12, something like that, or even earlier. Is that holiday celebration and all the family together and how different everyone had turned out to be.
Right.
Well, it's kind of interesting because my family's the same way.
Wow.
I have one son who's a strong atheist. I have another son who's a very strong Baptist person.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can even put a label on me because I'm primarily interested in Buddhism, but I'm very eclectic.
You and I are very much alike in that regard. Yes.
I've had a lot of Sufi training, and I'm really thankful for that.
And I like the Native American stuff. That I love their stuff too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good old Sun Bear.
Yeah.
And then my two daughters are very strong, deep fundamentalist Christians. So we're all very, very different.
Very different. Yeah.
And some of us are speaking and some are not. And, and it just goes with the game.
Yeah, it does. I'm sorry. My middle brother, he didn't talk to my other brother and I for 14 years. And it always distressed me. I would have dreams about it because we weren't the same type of people, but we were related to each other. We were brother and sister. And finally, after 14 years, we did, but I thought, what a waste of those years that, just wasted in, I didn't even know what he was mad at. There was no communication. Yeah. I hate that. That's like a waste of precious life, So, wow.
It must have served some purpose to somebody. We don't know what, or
we don't know who. We don't know what. Well, my brother was very different. He was very traumatized during the war and Vietnam War, and he had a lot of anger issues. And now you would never know. he is the kindest, calmest person you've ever met. It's very interesting. So he had to go through his transformation,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like we all do. And
Yeah.
so he and I just adore each other now. But, you know, my other brother's gone. So that's all we have left is each other, really, in our
Oh my
family.
goodness. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. So I know that you have something that you're going to show us. Remember, everybody that's watching, that Peggy does neurographics, and she's doing a lot of teaching of neurographics. She, as a matter of fact, I had to squeeze this in because she's so busy at the senior center teaching the ladies and gentlemen all about this. So what is it that you're going to show us, Peggy, and how can we learn from you?
Well, it's what I'm going to share is that there is a 5-minute daily practice for 21 days that a person can do if they want to make some specific change in their life. I'm going to take a very simple, seemingly simple change. Is my instructor, my neurographic instructor, had problems with coffee, something terrible. She loved coffee, and she was like 6 cups a day coffee person. Yeah. And so she had to switch, and she chose to switch to very low key organic tea, like chamomile or something like that. Yeah. The coffee. Well, I'm going to show you a picture now of how you do this. I'm going to show it up close. Mm-hmm. Get a peek at it.
Yep.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you what we're talking about. You sit down with your drawing paper and you draw a circle at the top, and that's yourself. Mm-hmm. You draw one circle down to one side of you. Make another circle. Don't make it as big as you. Make it small. You want to control it.
Okay. I like that.
Got, your energy lines are going to the smaller circle. That's the coffee.
Okay.
But you cross that out.
All right.
And you draw your other circle over here, what you want, chamomile tea. And you draw your neuro lines again to that one. Now have a lot more energy going to the chamomile. Okay.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
And so from a habit that needed to be changed, don't drink the coffee anymore, to drinking the tea and drawing that, spending 5 minutes thinking about it every day. Okay, this is what I did. This is my little 5-minute book.
Oh, look at you.
Do every day. Every day to focus on moving that energy over.
What you want to move. Okay. Okay. And you use neurographics and writing. Is
correct.
That right? Okay.
This is like an introductory to get us to think about removing things that are really limits to us. They're removing the inner frustrations or whatever it is inside of us, whether it's thoughts or feelings or indigestion.
Right.
We're going to deal with it.
Right. Right.
We're going to name what it is that is the problem.
Okay.
And we're going to cross out the flow of energy to that thing. Yep. And we're going to open up to a flow of energy to what we are desiring to change into.
Right. Right.
So a person can say simply, I've been sick. Okay, I don't want to be sick anymore. I don't want whatever it is.
Right.
Over here, they can say a small affirmation. Because I love myself, I choose to let go of anything unlike good health. I choose to let go of anything unlike good health. So you're not focusing your words on
the negative.
The negative. You're going with the positive by saying unlike.
What I like about this too is that we are told that what our thoughts are things, and that we manifest whatever it is that we're thinking about in reality because we're focused on it. But this makes us absolutely focus on it every single day and take pen to paper or colors to paper and bring that thing down to reality in using art and words. And it's a lot strict. Don't even want to use the word stricter. It's it's something that you can visibly see that you're doing, right?
Exactly.
It's not just here. Yeah.
It's a pleasant routine. It's a
Yes.
pleasant routine that you carve out for yourself so that you can have something better happening than what
Right.
you're currently living with.
Than what you're
whatever it may
right.
be.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
And how is it working? Have you done it? How many days have you done your most recent one? Have you done it for 3 weeks yet?
yeah, I've done it for 3 weeks on this one. And I'm now opening one up to writing. I want to do more writing.
Good. Good.
I've only done 2 days on that one, so we haven't.
That's okay. No, but you know, you're bringing that down. You're bringing that down to reality for yourself.
You're manifesting it. You're actually manifesting what you want in your life.
What you want. That's right. Wow.
So it grows out of, if we have a memory of something bad and we keep talking about that bad again and again and again, we're just reinforcing that negative energy.
We are. That's right.
So we got to choose something to actually is going to fill us with the feelings of goodness to think about all the time.
Right. But it also, it encourages us to write it down every day so that it becomes that. Whereas before we'd say, oh, I should have been thinking about that more than I have been. This way you're doing it. You're absolutely,
reinforced. You're working with the body. Everything is in the body. Every thought, every feeling. So you're reinforcing the good feelings in the body.
Oh, I like that so much. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I need to do that because I have gained 20 pounds since since COVID, and I need to lose that 20 pounds because it's dragging at me. It's really bothering me. And so I just need to eat right. And I don't need to eat any junky stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. We do have to put our wholehearted commitment to it.
We do. Yeah. Yep. But I love that. Thank you so much. And I'm going to put up a picture of that on the page so you could see what she has written down, because it's hard when you're trying to see it on a screen. But anyway, we'll do that. And I want to ask Miss Peggy, whenever she is ready, to come back and do this again, and we'll talk about some other stuff, because everybody really has been interested. And as long as you're happy doing it, you know, in your time frame, then I would love you to do it. This is just a series of wonderful stories and ideas and thoughts. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.